Hello, I'm David.Rosen, real estate broker and New Yorker. And today, on my show, New Yorkers Know, we're going to check out one of the coolest neighborhoods and the world leader for arts and architecture, Chelsea. So today we're going to start our episode on the Highline. So not exactly a hidden gem, but there's a lot of interesting facts about the Highline you might not know. The Highline runs for 1.5 miles, starting at the Gansevoort and going all the way up to Hudson Yards. It sees over 8.5 million visitors a year. It was originally an elevated train track built in the 1930s, and this train line was so dangerous it had a nickname, Death Avenue. The West Side Cowboys used to patrol the tracks to tell pedestrians when the train was coming. By the 70s, they ripped up the train tracks and they used it for commercial trucking, like a highway. Well, it eventually fell into disrepair and the city wanted to tear it down. Friends of the Highline was the organization that was founded to preserve the structure rather than raise it. They had a global ideas competition, and they received over 720 submissions from all over the world. What we have today is 1.5 miles sculpture garden, walkway, and eco-preserve that utilizes naturally occurring shrubbery to weave together the history and the present. There's over a dozen zones here that actually pay homage to different natural landscapes that occur in Manhattan. I'm talking about the Northern Spur Preserve, Washington Grasslands, and the Woodland Edge. The southern tip of the Highline ends at the bustling Gansevoort Street. Descending the staircase, you're going to find the coolest shops and some of the greatest companies in all of the city. You'll also find a cutting-edge contemporary art museum. For our first trivia question, what museum is that? Stay tuned to the end for the answer to this and all of today's trivia. So if you take the Highline north, you're going to get to 15th, 16th Street, and you're going to get to today's second location, Chelsea Market. This huge building was originally built in the 1890s. It takes up the entire block, from 15th Street to 16th Street, 9th Avenue to 10th Avenue. It's conveniently located just off the Highline. It was redeveloped in the 1990s with some of the most amazing food shops, cool stores, tons of restaurants, lots of pop-ups, and much more. Some of the notable tenants at Chelsea Market include Major League Baseball, Bravo Television, YouTube, and the most notable offices belong to people like Google, who bought the entire building back in 2018 for a record sale price of $2.4 billion, which they paid for in cash. Chelsea Market is part of the Gansevoort Market Historic District, and it attracts well over 6 million visitors each and every year, going from everywhere from anthropology to buying my favorite, tacos. And now time for our second trivia question. Before it was Chelsea Market, New Yorkers know, which National Biscuit Corporation was Chelsea Market home to? Stay tuned to the end for the answer to this and all of today's trivia. So just northeast, over on 20th Street and 8th Avenue, we're going to walk into the Chelsea Garden District, some of these beautiful tree-lined blocks, and we have here the Atlantic Theater Company. So before we get to our third and final destination today, the Atlantic Theater Company, fun little fact. Across the street here is a cooperative apartment called the Muffin House, and it has that name because it is the birthplace of Thomas's English muffins. Back to the Atlantic Theater Company, it was originally founded by famous actor and playwright David Mamet and William Macy. Atlantic Theater Company is an ensemble-based theater group. They've produced dozens of original shows, including Spring Awakening, The Band's Visit, and many David Mamet debuts. They really focus on the ensemble instead of elevating the star, which is simply why I can't work there. Too much of the it factor, you know what I mean? The Atlantic Theater Company has won 22 Tony Awards, 35 Obie Awards, and a Pulitzer Prize for Drama, and the patented David.Rosen point and nod for being a cool spot. And now for today's final trivia question. Which Atlantic Theater Company alum is also the Scarlet Avenger. Now here's a hint. She has two famous celebrity sisters herself. And now for today's trivia answers. The Highline is not just a beautiful green space, it's a living piece of art. But you know what else is a living piece of art? Our first answer, New Yorkers know, at the base of the Highline is the Whitney Museum. Trivia answer number 2. Chelsea Market has deep culinary roots, and before it became what it is today, it was owned by which National Biscuit Corporation? Nabisco, of course. Nabisco, National Biscuit Corporation. Nabisco used to be the anchor and owner of the Chelsea Market. For our last question, I asked you, which Atlantic Theater Ensemble member went on to become a superhero in the Marvel Universe? You might know her as the Scarlet Witch, and her real name is Elizabeth Olsen. And you might have also heard of her older sisters, Ashley and Mary Kate. Hey, thanks everyone. This has been another episode of New Yorkers Know. If you think you know something that I should feature on New Yorkers Know, don't be a stranger. Give me a holler. My name's David.Rosen, and I'll see you next time.